Well, good morning again. Yesterday when we started working on the lard, I showed you a little bit of my bone broth I was working on. So I thought, well, I'll just take a couple minutes, and show you where we're at on this. Let me turn this around here where you can see. Okay. Is that a good view? Good Lord, I got to work on my camera skills. So this is a crock pot that I filled it all the way up, like to the top, with just some filtered water. I put in a couple of soup bones, about 3 carrots that I washed and quartered, 1 onion that I peeled and quartered. You don't even have to peel it, but I did. And I put in, I don't know, a couple tablespoons of garlic, so you can see the little chunks of garlic, and about a tablespoon of whole peppercorns. And just turned it on. I turned it on high and let it run overnight, and then turned it down to low and let it run another 24 hours. So this has been going 48 hours. And what we're after is that broth. Look how beautiful that is. These vegetables have done all they're gonna do. So they're dead. I'm gonna pull those out and just let them go to the compost pile. The meat from the soup bones, yeah, you don't want any of that either. It's going to be kind of dried out and, excuse me, used up. So, blah. Now, one thing I will show you. You see that bone right there? It's kind of a bad angle. In the middle of that bone is some marrow. Honey, hush. You talk about some nutrition. So, I'm going to poke that straight out of there and just drop it down into my broth. So, what you can do with this stuff, turn this back around. Bone broth is another one of those ancestral things. It is phenomenal. I mean, where do you think the old, oh, if you got a cold, drink chicken soup? Well, it's the chicken broth. It's the amazingness of that creation. It's very good for detoxing your body. It just helps your body naturally do its detox steps. It's a good healer for your stomach. So if you have a queasy stomach or you're dealing with any kind of issues, or if you're not and you don't want to, drink bone broth regularly. It's really good for your feel-good hormones like dopamine, serotonin. It helps your hormones do the things that they're supposed to do. Kind of like the lard we were talking about. It's another one of those, God made this, so it's going to be good for us. It's going to help us take care of our body. It is a phenomenal thing for children. I mean, if you can get them to drink a cup of bone broth every day, that would be amazing. It would just be so good for their overall health. So you can pour this up, and like I'm going to use this strainer and pour it into this bowl. Get rid of all the things that I use to make the broth, like I was mentioning. I'm going to toss the bones in the trash because I don't have a dog right now. And toss the vegetables in the compost pile. And then you can put your broth in little jars like I was doing with the lard, stick it in the freezer, and have it in little measured amounts to pull out and use when you are doing recipes. You talk about the best gravy you'll ever put in your mouth. Some homemade lard, some homemade broth. Holy moly. People will think you are a 5-star chef trained in France. I'm going to just use this whole thing and make some soup. So I'm going to throw some fresh carrots in there, some little fingerling potatoes. I've got some fresh collard greens I'm going to cut up and throw in there, and just make a soup. Another thing, I have some leftover Dutch beef, which is a recipe I make that's some little chunks of meat in a gravy with a lot of onions. I'm going to throw that in there. So we're going to have a beef vegetable soup. Very, very, very flavorful, very nutrient dense, super comforting, and super easy. So that's the scoop on the bone broth. Next time I make a batch, I'll start the video from the beginning and let you see. I tend to start in the middle of things. But anyway, we'll start from the beginning and you can see how it kind of puts together. And then all you gotta do is turn your crock pot on. You can also do it on the stove on a pot, but you gotta leave your stove going for a couple of days. I'm not real keen on that idea. So anyway, that's it. You need to try some of this because it will rock your world.